NAACP has a lot of people asking, what is black? Why? Because according to her parents, she's a white woman who has been claiming to be African American. Again, I want to show you that side by side. Her there on the left, a little bit younger, and then on the right, that's her now. An investigation into threats made against her uncovered the details about her ethnicity. And joining me now to talk a little bit more about this is Gerald Hankerson. He's the president of the NAACP for this region, the Alaska, Oregon, Washington State Area Conference. He's joining us on the phone. Thank you so much for joining us, Gerald. We appreciate it. What's your reaction to this news about Rachel Dolezal?
First of all, thank you for having me. It's really unfortunate to have this conversation right now, particularly talking about for over 106 years. The NAACP has been known as a diverse organization that consists of leaders from all different ethnicities. Of course, blacks, Hispanics, Asians, Native Americans, and yes, even whites. We historically have always been an organization that consists of a diverse group of people from all across America. And it's unfortunate considering that all the things in the ills of society that's going on today, we're having a discussion about the ethnicity of one of our leaders in Spokane, Ms. Dolezal.
You know, some people might say, well, her heart perhaps was in the right place. She's a great advocate for African Americans. Clearly she feels connected to that community. Does that make her deception, however, any less harmful?
Well, for us, we're a civil rights organization first, which means that we represent all civil rights issues regardless of a person's ethnicity. And the quality of the work that she has done to elevate the issues of civil rights in that region is what we applaud. The fact of having a conversation and discussion about ethnicity, it's not even important to us. It's about dealing with the issues and the ills of society that her leadership have projected some quality work that have helped in that region. And as NAACP, we're a civil rights organization first and foremost, which we represent folks from all different nationalities. So that's what we value as NAACP leadership, dealing with those issues and fighting for the quality of life for people all across America.
How do you see this controversy, so to speak, impacting the work that you're doing in that region?
Well, it's unfortunate that this became the conversation about her ethnicity when we're dealing with issues when it comes to police accountability all across the country, the housing issues, the civil rights issues that we're dealing with in America. Obviously, it's a detraction from all the real stuff that's going on in the community, where communities are being disenfranchised, gentrified. For me, it's more important that I'm dealing with today of a young student being able to graduate who's been denied the opportunity to graduate because they failed PE. Those are the things that the work we do, rather than being attracted by the fact of someone's ethnicity being at the front and center here. We don't know the genealogy of half the people in America, and the NAACP do not do a genealogy search on what a person's ethnicity is when they become the leaders of civil rights. So it's unfortunate that this has become the trending conversation when there's a lot more important things that's going on in America that we should be better addressing.
All right, Gerald Hankerson, the president of the NAACP, again, for that region of Washington, Oregon, and Alaska. We appreciate your time. I also want to bring in Mark Lamont Hill, commentator for CNN, who's also professor at Morehouse College. Mark, what's your take on all this?
This is one of the most puzzling cases that I have seen in a very long time. And yes, I agree that there are more pressing issues in the world than one individual who decided to misrepresent herself. But it is part of the story, and it is part of a broader conversation in this nation about race. Historically, people have lied about their race to get away from social stigma, to get away from social pain, to get away from social misery. They didn't want to get lynched. They wanted to get jobs, housing, health care, etc. This is somebody who's lying into marginalization, someone who's lying into social misery, as it were. So it's a curious case, but I don't think we should reduce this to the level of her individual choice. Other people were hurt by this. When you take a job in an organization where you tell people you're one race and you're not, you're misrepresenting yourself and you're denying people the right to make their own choices. When you take a faculty job at a school that already has very few African Americans, you're taking a job from someone who might actually be black and who doesn't have the luxury of opting out of their blackness or opting into their blackness the way this privileged white woman can. There are a lot of curious circumstances. Some of it is about her own individual psychology and her own family drama. I don't want to deal with that. I want to deal with the substantive question of what does it mean to talk about race in this country as a social construct, but also as something that's very real to people on the ground.
It certainly opened up the conversation about race, and I want to show you a tweet that really gets to the heart of what we're discussing. And this is a quote. "There are white people telling black people what race is and who can and cannot be black." That is what's happening right now. Hashtag Rachel Dolezal. Mark, does that resonate with you?
Oh, it absolutely does. I mean, one of the things that I found troublesome about her response was, we're all from Africa. Race is very complicated and nuanced. As if we as a world aren't smart enough to understand race sufficiently so that she can be black. The truth here is that she, as a white woman, is exercising extraordinary privilege to try on blackness, as some people say, to try on everything but the burden, and to decide when and how she wants to be this thing that she can always walk away from. I can't walk out of being black. I can't walk out of the social demerits that accompany my blackness the same way she can. And so for her to control that, ironically, is an exercise of the very white privilege that she spent so much time in her professional career trying to dismantle. So I reject her premise on its face. That's not to deny the work she's done. That's not to deny her character at the level of advocacy and activism. I'm not even saying she shouldn't be president of the NAACP branch. I mean, I know plenty of white people who run NAACP chapters. My issue with her is that she lied and misrepresented herself and is now trying to convince us of something else. It's just not reasonable.
All right, Mark Lamont Hill, we'll have to leave it there. Thanks so much for sharing your thoughts. Good to see you.
Pleasure.
Well, what a week it's been in the James Holmes trial with jurors